A peaceful afternoon turns into a battleground over something as innocent as a child selling lemonade. What sparks conflict between a little girl and a grown woman becomes a flashpoint for an entire community. What happens when the story doesn't stop at the sidewalk? Let us know in the comments section below. Sabrina Cromwell loved to fold her dollar bills in threes. That way, she could fit them in the tiny denim pocket stitched above her regular front pocket. The secret slot, she called it. At 9, she was small for her age, but moved like she had important places to be. She didn't walk, she darted. That Saturday, she wore her lemon-yellow tank top with the word Queen glittered across the chest. She said it made her look official, like a CEO. And in her mind, she already was one. She had printed out a hand-drawn sign that read, Sabrina's Citrus Splash, $1.00 per cup. Organic-ish. The table was wobbly, the umbrella crooked, and her best friend Maya Lopez had spilled half the ice before they even opened. But Sabrina was proud. She'd saved up for the powdered drink mix herself, scouted the perfect corner near Hamilton Park, and even borrowed her Uncle Rico's folding chair, after promising not to break it again. Across the street, watching from a window shaded by faded blinds, Cheryl Whitmore sipped her third glass of room-temperature Pinot Grigio. Her little dog Pudding yapped at every noise from below, which only sharpened her annoyance. The clatter, the squeaky wagon wheels, the giggles, every sound outside grated on her like a dull butter knife. That's just what this street needs, she muttered, tugging the blinds open with 2 fingers. Sidewalk commerce. Cheryl had lived in that house for 16 years. She'd bought it before the neighborhood started changing, as she liked to say with tight lips and a wrinkled nose. She missed when things were orderly, when lemonade was sold by Girl Scouts outside grocery stores, not by random kids on her block. She didn't like unfamiliar things, especially when they were loud, bold, and unapologetically joyful. Sabrina counted her first sale with exaggerated care, sliding the crumpled dollar into her pocket like it was gold bullion. Maya danced in place beside her, twirling the sign like a cheerleader. "Girl, we gonna be rich," Maya beamed. I mean, not actually rich, but like rich for our grade. Sabrina smirked, elbowed her friend playfully, and glanced up just in time to catch Cheryl's disapproving glare through the second-floor window. Their eyes locked for a second. Just one. But even at 9, Sabrina knew what that look meant. It wasn't just annoyance. It was something older, meaner. By noon, they'd sold 16 cups and given away 4 for free. A small success, but Sabrina felt like she was conquering Wall Street. That feeling shattered when Cheryl emerged from her brick house in pink slippers and an oversized cardigan that flapped behind her like a superhero's cape. If the superhero was powered by bitterness. "I'm sorry, but do you two have a permit for this?" Cheryl's voice sliced through the warm air like a blade. Sabrina turned slowly, the plastic ladle still in her hand. She looked up and blinked. "Ma'am?" Cheryl crossed her arms and gestured to the sign. "You can't just set up a business on a public sidewalk. There are rules, permits, sanitation laws." Maya stepped behind Sabrina. "We're just selling lemonade." "That's exactly the problem." Cheryl pulled out her phone, tapping with exaggerated purpose. "I'm calling the non-emergency police line. You girls need to pack it up." Sabrina's stomach dropped. Her fingers gripped the edge of the table. She had read about stuff like this. Kids being shut down. People who looked like her being accused of things they didn't do. Her voice cracked as she tried to explain. "We're just raising money for school supplies. I'm not trying to—" "I don't care what you're trying to do. It's illegal," Cheryl snapped, turning away to speak into her phone. "Yes, hi. I'd like to report 2 juveniles operating a food stand without a license. No, they're not supervised. Yes, right outside my house." Sabrina's eyes watered, but she wouldn't let the tears fall. Not now. Not in front of her. When the squad car pulled up, it wasn't what she expected. Officer Dana Reed stepped out, ponytail tight, face unreadable. She looked at the two girls, looked at the table, then looked at Cheryl. "You called about this?" Cheryl gestured with wide eyes. "Yes, they're selling food without a license. It's not sanitary. There are laws." Dana turned back to Sabrina. "Is this your lemonade stand?" "Yes, ma'am," Sabrina said quietly. "Can you tell me what you're doing out here?" "We're just trying to raise money. For binders and backpacks, stuff we need." Officer Reed nodded slowly. "Okay. And who helped you set this up?" "My mom said it was okay. We're not near the street. We're just trying to do something good." Dana stood still for a moment, then slowly turned to Cheryl. "Ma'am, this is not a criminal offense. They're children selling lemonade." Cheryl's face turned red. "But it's against—" "It's not worth escalating," Dana said firmly. "They're not hurting anyone." Sabrina felt Maya squeeze her hand from behind. Her knees trembled, but she stood her ground. Cheryl folded her arms and marched back to her house, defeated but not ashamed. Dana crouched beside the girls. "Next time, maybe talk to your parents about getting a little sign from the city, okay? Just in case." Sabrina nodded, blinking hard. "Thank you. Be safe. And hey," she added with a half smile, "make sure to wash your hands before serving." The squad car pulled away. But by then, 3 neighbors had gathered. One had been filming. The video hit Instagram before sundown. And by Monday morning, everyone knew Sabrina's name. The video was shaky, shot through the camera lens of an iPhone held by a teenager across the street, but the sound was crystal clear. Cheryl's voice came through first, sharp and full of authority, followed by Sabrina's. A softer, steadier tone that cracked only once when she tried to explain why she was there. The clip was 37 seconds long. That was all it took. 37 seconds to upend a life, spark a movement, and make a 9-year-old girl into the latest face of something much bigger than lemonade. By Sunday evening, the views had hit 500,000. By Monday morning, local news vans lined the curb where Sabrina's lemonade stand used to be. She watched them through the blinds with wide eyes and quiet confusion. Maya had slept over, curled on a beanbag near the foot of her bed, still wearing socks with little lemons on them. Sabrina whispered to her mom, "Why are they all here?" Sabrina Cromwell, running on 2 hours of sleep and 1 cup of cold coffee, glanced out the window. Her uniform was half on, nurse scrubs with her name badge clipped crooked, and her purse kept slipping off her shoulder. "They're here because someone filmed what happened to you," she said softly. "And people care. A lot of people." "I don't want to be on TV," Sabrina said, folding her knees into her chest. Danielle crouched beside her daughter, brushing hair from her face. "You didn't ask for this, I know. But what happened? It wasn't okay. And now people see it." At school, kids pointed. Teachers looked at her a little too long, their eyes full of pity or pride, she couldn't tell which. Someone tried to take a selfie with her near the lunch line, whispering, "You're that lemonade girl, right?" She wanted to disappear. At lunch, Maya leaned in, chewing a fruit snack and whispering, "You're like famous. This is crazy." Sabrina stabbed her applesauce with the spoon. "I didn't want this." "I know," Maya said, "but maybe it's good people saw it. Maybe now they'll listen." That evening, Danielle got a call from a woman named Erica Palmer. Sabrina only heard one side of the conversation, but she saw her mom's eyebrows rise and the way she straightened her back as she spoke. "She said what?" Danielle asked. Paused. "Yes, she's 9. Yes, that was her in the video." "Was? Wait. What kind of offer?" When Danielle hung up, she walked into the living room, where Sabrina was watching cartoons on mute. The screen lit the dark room in flickers, but the girl didn't laugh once. "Sabrina," Danielle said slowly, "do you know who Erica Palmer is?" Sabrina shook her head. She owns this company, Fresh Bloom Drinks, all natural teas, juices, wellness stuff. Her face is on billboards downtown. She saw your video. She wants to talk to you. Sabrina blinked. He said you remind her of herself. She started selling juice when she was 10. She wants to help you. Not in a fake way, real help. Sabrina didn't know what that meant exactly. But when Erica showed up at their apartment 2 days later, she was tall and confident, with box braids down her back and a navy pantsuit that looked like something out of a movie. She crouched to Sabrina's eye level and said, "You're brave. You know that, right?" Sabrina shrugged. "You didn't run away. You stood there. You told the truth. And people saw you." Sabrina looked down at her socks. "I didn't do anything big. I was just selling lemonade." Erica smiled. That's how every big story starts. The rest of the week blurred. Erica came back 2 more times, each visit longer than the last. She brought Sabrina a stack of books, kids' business guides, journals, a workbook called Little CEO, Big Ideas. She didn't talk like the reporters did, asking the same questions over and over. She listened. She asked Sabrina what her lemonade tasted like, what she'd name it if it were in a bottle on a store shelf, what she'd change about it if she had more money. And when Sabrina described her dream lemonade that tasted like summer and kindness, Erica nodded slowly and said, "We can work with that." The first email came from a woman in Minnesota who offered to send Sabrina a better lemonade stand, painted, polished, with her name engraved in the wood. The next came from someone in Chicago, offering free branding. Then came a small investor from Oakland, then a design student from Atlanta who wanted to help make a logo. Offers flooded in. Danielle made a spreadsheet just to keep up. One night, as the city hummed outside, and the news still rolled Sabrina's clip like it was breaking news, Maya sat on the bed, twirling a pencil. "What if you made a real business," she said, "like real, like in bottles?" Sabrina looked up. "You think people would buy it?" Maya grinned. "Girl, they already believe in it. They're just waiting for you." Sabrina pulled out the notebook Erica had given her. On the cover, in sparkly gel pen, she'd written Sabrina's Lemonade Empire. She opened to a page filled with flavor ideas. Another page had sketches of bottles. But the last one was different. It was a page she hadn't shown anyone yet. At the top, she had written in big, bold letters, "Why I'm doing this." Underneath, in her careful 4th-grade handwriting, "To help kids like me not be scared when grown-ups are mean. To buy my own school supplies so mommy doesn't have to. Show girls who look like me that we can be the boss." That night, before bed, she told her mom, "I think I want to try, like, really try." Danielle tucked her in, kissed her forehead, and smiled. "You already started." And across town, alone in her kitchen, Cheryl scrolled through the video again, this time seeing herself through the eyes of millions. Not as a guardian of rules, but as a bully. And when she looked out the window now, she didn't see a child disturbing the peace. She saw the beginning of something she couldn't stop. The sign above the folding table was no longer hand-drawn with crayon. It was printed on vinyl, bold and lemony bright, with a sleek new logo, Sabrina's Citrus Splash. The letters curled like a ribbon, and below it read the slogan she and Maya had come up with over chocolate chip waffles, "Taste the power of kindness." Sabrina still stood behind the table, but now there were real glass jars instead of a plastic pitcher, and an umbrella custom printed in gold and white. Erica watched from the sidewalk, arms folded, a soft smile curling at the edge of her lips. It was a trial run meant to test their new flavors and packaging. The Focus Mint, Berry Brave, and the original Kind Lemon were all being offered in eco-friendly cups with compostable straws. Maya manned the cash box while Sabrina handed out samples with a mix of nervous energy and CEO swagger. A small crowd had gathered. Nothing viral this time, just curious neighbors, moms from the block, and even a few teenagers who'd seen the clip and come to support. But the feeling in the air was electric, charged with more than just the tang of fresh citrus. Something was happening, something real. Erica leaned in. This is how you start, not with a boardroom, with people. Sabrina nodded, her eyes flicking to the line. She whispered, I hope they like it. They will, Erica said. But even if they don't, you keep showing up. By the end of the afternoon, they had sold out of every flavor. Sabrina's hand ached from writing notes on the feedback cards Erica had insisted they collect. Maya counted the money 3 times just to be sure. $113. 0 cents in sales, not counting the donations, which came in folded bills and wrinkled checks from people who just wanted to help. That night they sat in Erica's studio loft, sipping chamomile tea and going over everything. You have something unique, Erica said, tapping one of the cards. Kindness in a cup. That's your brand, not just lemonade. A story. Sabrina glanced at her mom across the room. Danielle looked tired, but the proud kind of tired. The kind that came from seeing your kid become more than you imagined. I want to do more, Sabrina said. Not just here. I want other kids to have this too. Then we build it, Erica said. 1 step at a time. Next up, a pitch deck. Sabrina blinked. What's that? Maya chimed in. Is it like flashcards? Erica laughed. Kind of. It's how you tell your story to investors, why they should believe in your dream. They started that night. Sabrina talked. Erica typed. Maya drew doodles in the margins. They wrote about the incident, but only as the beginning. The pitch wasn't about Cheryl anymore. It was about how Sabrina turned a moment of pain into purpose. A few weeks later, Erica got them a meeting. It wasn't some fancy skyscraper, just a rented co-working space in Midtown with folding chairs and bottled water on a round table. The investors, 2 women and a man, all dressed in quiet colors, nodded politely as Sabrina stood in front of the screen, knees shaking behind her new glitter flats. She wore her CEO tank again, this time under a cardigan, because Danielle said, You can't lead a company in spaghetti straps. Sabrina held her hands tight and began. My name is Sabrina Cromwell. I'm 10 now, but when I started this I was 9. I didn't want to go viral. I just wanted to help my mom buy school stuff. She paused, swallowed hard, and kept going. People helped me. And now I want to help other kids do what I did. Not because it's lemonade, but because it's possible. Erica clicked to the next slide. Maya gave a thumbs up from the corner. Danielle pressed her lips together to stop them from trembling. The investors leaned in, asked questions, some friendly, some sharp. How would she scale? What was her cost per unit? What about shipping? Sabrina answered what she could, and what she didn't know, she didn't fake. I don't know yet, she said once. But I'm going to learn. That was the moment something shifted in the room. After the meeting, Erica wrapped an arm around her shoulders. No matter what happens, she whispered, that was fire. They got a call back 2 days later. $25,000, 0 cents. Seed money. Not a lot in adult business terms, but to Sabrina it felt like she'd been handed a golden key. Erica helped open a business account. They filed paperwork. Danielle read every form 3 times before signing. Sabrina's citrus splash became official. Soon after, they were invited to speak at a youth entrepreneurship summit. Sabrina wore a blazer 2 sizes too big and a pin that said CEO in training. Her voice didn't crack this time. She stood tall. After her speech, a girl in the audience, around 7 years old with beads clacking in her hair, came up to her and said, I want to sell cookies, but my neighbor says that's just kid stuff. Sabrina knelt to her level and said, If it's yours, it's not just kid stuff. You hear me? The girl nodded. Her mom took a photo of them together. Sabrina went home that night and added a new note to her journal. Every business starts small, but dreams don't have to. Meanwhile, Cheryl Whitmore was barely mentioned anymore. The media had moved on. Sabrina never said her name again, not in interviews, not in pitches, not even in private. Not because she forgave her, but because Cheryl didn't get to be part of the story anymore. The story now belonged to Sabrina, to her friends, to every kid who saw that video and believed in something bigger. Bigger than bitterness. Bigger than silence. Bigger than a folding table on a cracked sidewalk. The first time Sabrina saw her drink on a grocery shelf, she stopped breathing. There it was. Middle row, eye level. Sabrina's Citrus Splash, Kind Lemon. The same flavor from her first stand, now in a sleek glass bottle with a silver cap and a label that shimmered under the store's fluorescent lights. The logo hadn't changed much, just matured. Still that ribbon-style font, still the drop of juice shaped like a heart. Danielle stood beside her, arms crossed, a quiet grin forming on her lips. She'd brought Sabrina there on purpose, telling her they were just picking up groceries. Sabrina had no idea the store had finally stocked their first shipment. "It's here," Sabrina whispered. "It's really here." Danielle nodded. "I wanted you to see it first, before anyone else did." They bought 2 bottles, one to drink, one to keep, and Sabrina insisted on paying for both herself. As they walked out, the automatic doors whooshed open like something from a dream, and Sabrina felt taller, older, realer. That night, Maya came over and they toasted with lemonade in real wine glasses. Erica called and cried a little over the phone. Sabrina tried to play it cool, but at one point she just stared at the bottle in her hands and said, "This was worth it." It didn't stop there. Orders came in from across the country. Boutique shops, health food stores, and even a few chain grocers wanted a piece of the brand with heart. Erica brought in a distribution partner, and by the end of the year, the drinks were in 38 cities. Sabrina gave interviews, spoke at more events, and sat in on branding meetings where she wasn't just a mascot, she was the boss. They'd built a small team. Kids mostly, young teens who needed a shot at something more. Erica helped turn Sabrina's vision into a youth entrepreneurship program, with Citrus Camp running every summer. Sabrina always led the first day herself. One day, about a year after the first shelf launch, they were doing a restock at a local market. One of the company's earliest supporters. Sabrina was scheduled to do a little promo at the end cap, greet customers, hand out samples. She hadn't seen her in months. Cheryl Whitmore? Older, slower, her hair now streaked with more gray than blonde. She was wearing a navy apron and price-checking a jar of olives as Sabrina passed the deli section. Sabrina saw her before Cheryl saw her. She paused, lemonade bottle in hand, heart suddenly caught in her throat. She didn't know what she expected. Maybe a scene, maybe awkwardness, maybe just a chill in the air like the memory of something sour. But Cheryl looked up, recognized her instantly, and froze. They locked eyes for a moment. Neither said anything. Then Cheryl looked away and kept walking. She wasn't a manager, not even a supervisor, just an employee at the grocery store stocking products, including, as it turned out, Sabrina's Citrus Splash. Maya would have called it poetic. Erica would have called it justice. But Sabrina just kept walking, because Cheryl didn't matter anymore. Later that day, an elderly woman bought 3 bottles and asked for an autograph. She said her granddaughter was starting a lip gloss business and looked up to Sabrina. Sabrina smiled and signed the bottle in silver marker. "Tell her to keep going," she said, "no matter who tries to stop her." Back at home, Sabrina added a new page to her journal. The old one had been filled, every inch of it, top to bottom. Now, a brand new notebook, embossed with her name on the front and a quote from her last TEDx talk. "It's not just lemonade, it's a reminder we matter," she wrote in neat, looping cursive. Goals for next year. Get Citrus Splash into 100 stores. Expand Citrus Camp scholarships. Write a book for kids about starting stuff. Breathe more, worry less. Visit Grandma's hometown and donate to the school there. She paused, then added, and remember, you're allowed to be proud. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to be seen. The next morning, Sabrina walked into the kitchen to find her mom reading an email on her phone, eyes wide. You got invited to the White House, Danielle said slowly, like she still wasn't sure the words were real. Sabrina blinked. What? They're doing a youth business summit, national spotlight, they want you to speak, and bring samples. The week after that, Sabrina stood in a room lined with portraits of presidents, sipping ginger tea while she waited for her turn to go on stage. Her hands were cold, but her heart was calm. She had done this before, maybe not in a place with chandeliers the size of cars, but still. She had told her story 100 times. This time wouldn't be any different. Except it was. When she stepped up to the podium and saw the cameras, the reporters, the other young leaders watching her, she felt something she hadn't before. Not fear, not anxiety. She felt ready. She began the same way she always did, not with facts or stats, with a story. When I was 9, I sold lemonade on the sidewalk near my house. One woman said I didn't belong there, but a lot more people said I did. And I'm standing here today because I listened to them instead. Her speech went viral again, but this time it wasn't because something bad happened. It was because something beautiful did. At the end of the summit, a young boy with a stutter came up and asked if she thought a kid like him could run a business. Sabrina smiled and took his hand. You don't need anyone's permission, she said. Just start. And years later, when people talked about Sabrina Cromwell, they didn't say the girl from the video. They said the girl who built the lemonade empire, or the founder of Citrus Camp, or the youngest keynote speaker at the summit. But Sabrina didn't care what they called her. She still folded her money in thirds, still wrote in her journals at night, still kept that first wrinkled dollar bill from her lemonade stand in a frame above her desk. Because every time she looked at it, she remembered that justice doesn't always come loud. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's cold and comes in a bottle with your name on it.